Live and direct from the Coach MC studio. Welcome back, creative community. It's such a pleasure to have you guys back on board here at the Coach MC studio. This is the place where we'll help you to shape unique behavior deliveries and where we'll help you, actors, performers, entertainers, creators, to get recognized in the audition room every time you get called to action to impact your audience with magnificent, beautiful, and very authentic deliveries based upon your tools, your setup, your energy device, your network, and how you perceive and decode and decipher reality and what you want to put into work, what you can do best. And we try to morph this and give you always the most efficient, the most actual, the most contemporary tools to assist you with this transition of transformation from being you to being the character and really impact the lens and the casting director inside of the room and really have a wonderful, relaxed, and great and authentic delivery every time you get your sides and enjoying this process to the fullest because life is in session. We're in session right now, and this is the beauty and also the privilege of being a creative, being alive, and having all the possibilities there laid out, mapped out. And sometimes, yes, it's hard to achieve a goal. Sometimes, yes, it's hard to get acquainted with an instrument. Yes, it's hard to kind of apprehend and appreciate a tool, a technique, and also, the road that you have to go down in order to achieve certain goals. But the process is really the master that morphs that character out of you, that carves out the very best that you got inside of you and presents it to the world and to the eyes of the audience that, they can't wait to see great performances. The audience can't wait to see you performing at your top levels and being confident with your tools. So we're trying to make sure that this is going to happen every time you get called to action and just upstep the game every time we tune in to find out what's new about us, about our craft, and about entertainment industry in general. So if you're looking for acting tips, mindset videos, or also like meditation playlists where you kind of have the possibility to kind of retune yourself with your environment, with yourself, reboot your energy, and then get even more focused whenever you get called to action. This is your channel. And we have live chats like this one, but also talks on acting with great performers, great creators, great coaches all over the world to share the most precious, most impactful, and most authentic tools with you guys. So make sure to subscribe and activate the bell so you get notified every time we grind out the new video. And if you have any further questions, please leave them in the comment section below after hitting that thumbs up button, because that shows the algorithm what you really appreciate, what you really value, and it gives us a tremendous boost. So it doesn't cost you anything, but it gives us a great help. So make sure to hit the like button, to subscribe, to leave a comment, and show some appreciation also to shoot this video out there if you thought that this content was valuable and there's somebody out there who needs to see this. By all means, then of course shoot it out there to your creative community. Be my guest and let's see what we all got in storage for this great life, for this beautiful moment that we appreciate right now, for the privilege that we have to explore and express our creativity all together. Let's get further and faster all together. Let's become all great together, right? Isn't that a great plan? I very much think so. And today it's about a very crucial subject that we all need. Not only actors, but communicators, pros, and all types of people that need to impact somebody who kind of receives their portfolio, their resume, their CV, whatever it is. We need to, of course, deliver a message in a vocal way whenever we record something, but we also need to deliver a message in a visual way, and that is only possible by shooting great pictures of ourselves and presenting them to our future audience, to let them see what we're capable of, what we're looking like, and where we could fit in, what type of match we could be for their projects. Because, depending on the picture, that is very much the first impact. The people in charge, the relevant players in charge, your future employers, they will decide based on the picture whether they want to look at your media files, want to look at your CV, want to dig a bit deeper into your resume and find out more about you or not. This is very much the first guardian to kind of enter the sacred halls of entertainment industry, of all relevant industries, because a picture says more than 1,000 words. So if we make sure to nail our pictures, to nail our acting headshots, then we have already like a big key for our success in storage, right? There is this initial step that we all need to face when it comes down to present us publicly to entertainment industry, to our agents, to our managers, to the journalists out there, and the impact these pictures will have on your career and on how people will perceive you. You can't even underestimate that. You can't even overestimate that. It's exactly what you need. It's it's your business card. Of course, there are so many components that will come together, and we will talk about this in order to shoot great headshots and what is really necessary and why I feel there is not enough content around on YouTube. I mean, sure enough, technically speaking, there is super content out there. You will find great video makers telling you, what the right frame is, what the right light is, and if it should be cold light or warm light, or if you should shoot them outside, and where you can contact, photographers, and which price scale we're talking about. All of the technicalities are pretty much covered. I see that. And there are some great resources out there that will help you to kind of make that information happen for yourself, so you know what you need, right, for the technical aspect of the great headshot. But throughout the years, talking about from my own experience, being over 30 years in entertainment industry, being an actor for so long, and also being a coach and also coaching people, when it comes down to taking their pictures, also sometimes taking headshots on my own for some clients and students out there, I've realized that it really comes down to understand what headshots actually are, how we can prepare for a great headshot session in a way that you pretty much covered everything that you need, and you are really ready to unroll those faces and really impact the lens and give the photographer great footage, great material, great critical mass to work with. And then, of course, what we also need to realize is that every picture has a context. Every picture says and stands in for something. And if we realize these three fundamental chunks, and a bonus tip that I'm going to add, once we kind of dive into the material today. So make sure to stick with us till the end, creative community, because I think the most important part is coming towards the end. I'm going to make sure to cover everything that is really technically necessary in order to prepare yourself. But there are some, secret keys and tools that I've discovered throughout my life myself, that I've experienced myself work the best when it comes down to really kind of reduce the time to make great pictures, decrease the volume of mediocre pictures, and increase the volume of really outstanding pictures, so you can be satisfied and fulfilled about the session. You spend your money and you invested your money in a good way in your portfolio, into your own development, and now you're eligible, right, for those great for those great castings, because they will look at a great picture, and it will casting directors, producers, agents, talent managers, that will tell right away if they got a great picture in their hand, if there is a connection going on. And we'll talk about all this. This makes you more accessible for them to understand really how to frame you, especially if you're a beginner, if you're an acting beginner, or if you're just starting out with your career, if you just left drama school and now you're all in there in the mix. But also for the more seasoned actors, to kind of establish maybe a new look, a new style, a new niche where they would like to see themselves. All this and much, much, much more coming up in this video. So I hope you're gonna enjoy and stay till the end. Like I said, there's gonna be a nice bonus tip. And make sure to subscribe, guys. It makes this whole endeavor so worth it. I see that there are people come and go on my channel, but not all of the the people who are actually consuming my content are actually subscribed to the channel. So make sure to do that. It really helps us tremendously. So talking about what the industry standard is, right? Let's start from scratch. What does the industry need? The industry needs a great first impression. When a casting director holds your headshots in their hands. What they want to see is somebody who connects with them, right? Somebody who tells something, somebody who immediately kind of propels something, that has a message, that tells a story. There needs to be a connection, a clear and direct connection, center line to center line, eyes to eyes, and skin to skin, right? The more tensionate, the more interesting, the more intriguing the picture is, the longer the casting director, the producer, the director, the longer they will hold this picture in their hands, and the longer they will evaluate about what they can do with this product that they are seeing, that they're holding in their hands. And even if you're not an actor, coming back to the concept that this is also very, very important for all people out there who want to present themselves in a very authentic and impactful way, right? They really want to, come across as the product that they are. They want to be believable and decipherable. You want to present yourself to your potential future employer in a way that he gets immediately what you're about, even just by looking at the picture, without even listening to what you're saying, without even listening to the very first word, right? Just by the picture, there needs to be some sort of story going on. And because if there's a story, if you're telling something on your picture, on your pictures, on your headshots, whether this is like for an industrial headshot, industrial portfolio, or for any other type of employment that you're looking for, a picture has something that transmits an information that happens on a deeper level. It's not the ratio, it's not the numbers, the resume, which companies you worked for, kind of education you've appreciated throughout your life. This is ratio. Everybody can be good at something, everybody can study something, everybody can reach greater grades. But if I look somebody deep in their eyes, I realize what type of person that is. I could be wrong. I mean, hiring is always guessing. I could be wrong about so many things, right? Firing is knowing, hiring is guessing. So I'm guessing here. But if you help me, if you cover many of the of the little codes and tricks, and if you have a solid transmission of your story that I can perceive through your eyes, then immediately I will create a bond with you, whether that's a casting director or a CEO of a big company. It really doesn't matter. So this session today is about shooting great acting headshots, because I don't know if you remember, you can check out this video. It should be somewhere here or over there. It was one of our lives when we actually talked about what actually works in today's market in terms of how can I sell myself? What should I do in order to sell myself properly? Because if I look around in this world, I realize that there are the two main factors of any successful transaction. The appetite for that transaction gets created by fashion or acting, right? You stimulate the appetite for a certain product, for a certain service, for a certain piece of entertainment or content by wrapping it up in fashion and by selling it through acting. So we all became actors in a way. We all became designers of our own futures and masters of our own program and craft. So we need to make sure to know that every picture has a meaning, every picture has an importance, and we shouldn't take picture making and taking for granted, because we're surrounded by cameras these days, right? Pictures are pretty much everywhere. We can find them on Instagram, on TikTok, on all those various social media platforms and internet. If we go out, advertisement, pictures are everywhere. Videos and pictures are everywhere. So if we get good at shooting pictures, at taking pictures and making pictures, we get good at selling ourselves, at selling our product. We get better because we improve our advertisement, our transmission of the initial story. That's our source code. So great headshots will help you to resonate with the people out there who potentially could hire you, who potentially could look out for somebody exactly like you, who could potentially kind of in a way have some sort of a very it's every picture could change your career, basically. That's what I'm basically trying to say. So make sure that every picture counts. and let's decrease the volume of mediocre pictures, and let's increase dramatically the volume of great pictures, right? And how we will do that, it's coming up. Let me first introduce everybody to the chat room and say hello to all the people here. It's beautiful that you guys joined today's show. I'm really pumped and excited that every time I turn on this channel, people are willing to share some of their time and just spend some time here with me, and that's so tremendous. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Rosita Macarons, joining the channel today as well. Hi, Coach. It's great to see you. Can't wait to take some notes. Please, make sure you have your journal by your side, like a pencil, a pen, something, and because there's gonna be some information that you probably want to kind of take down. You want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. Of course, you can kind of replay the video here and there, but if you take notes right away, it kind of stratifies deeper. So make sure to do that. Martina Lehmann, Schauspielerin. Good evening to the community. Good evening to you, Martina. It's such a pleasure to have you back on the channel once again. So great. Hello, Lorenzo from Annie Boo. Hello, Annie Boo. And Google Khan, greetings. Greetings to you, my friend. Great that you guys joined. And now I would say, let's dive right into it. So let's cover the technical aspect. Let's cover point number one. And I think there is a lot of common sense going on. And I'm surely not disclosing any, X files here right from the start in terms of what you need to do to make sure that, the groundwork, the framework of making sure that your next headshot session will be a success, kind of is solid, right? So first of all, when we're talking about clothings, we're talking about clothings that should underline the concept, right, of what we're doing that day. And we're going to talk about what type of concept we have, because there is one big elephant in the room that we haven't addressed so far. I'm about to do that in a couple of minutes. But first, let's cover, the basic and simple rules. Of course, avoid, when you're taking your clothes to your next headshot session, avoid any fancy or too crazy clothing and fashion, or fashion with crazy patterns, or huge logos or advertisement, or any strange wording, anything like that. Of course, what you wear should underline who you are and not cover it, right? That's like a basic ground rule. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't, take some clothes with you that you feel comfortable in, and it could be, viewed as a bit crazy or fancy or kind of eccentric, if it's not too much, if it has the right balance between colors and patterns, if it's not too too small or too intrinsic, if it's not in terms of color differences, not too many colors or too crazy patterns or anything like that, you can take something that is a bit more fancy, that kind of spices up one or two pictures here and there. I mean, it's just for the feeling, of course, because as we know, the headshot, we should cover that of course as well. I mean, the headshot happens here, right? It's your head till your shoulders, basically. That's what's going on, and everything happens actually here, right? Your eyes, the gate to your soul, the transmitter, the antenna that transmits information. That's your eyes. But another very important point about headshots and pictures generally is what we surely not consider all the time when we think about headshots. We usually think about a smile, nice face, or the eyes and the expression of the eyes. But it's actually the skin that is almost as important as the look, right? The more skin we see, the better it is, because the human eye, loves to kind of travel over the skin, right? It travels to fly over a picture and to look at the skin, to kind of observe the texture of the skin, if it looks healthy or not, if it's brown or not, if it's tanned or not, if there are any little spots or anything. It's like a spy plane, basically. Your eye will fly, the casting director's eye will fly like a spy plane, like a U-2, over the ground, over the skin, and will map everything and picture everything meticulously, and will remember everything. That's what we love to see, the skin as well as the eyes. So make sure when you're choosing the clothes that those clothes are, that they have a pretty solid color, that they are not too crazy, that they are not the latest fashion in terms of logos or any, fancy prints or anything like crazy faces or anything like that, that it serves the purpose of underlining who you are and not covering what you can offer. But also try to, figure out a way to put something on that doesn't cover too much of your skin, so your skin really has the ability to be shown as well, because your skin, like I said, is it's like a co-protagonist in this movie called Headshot Session, right? The skin is truly important because it reminds us of so many things as human beings, right? The skin can be something that reminds us of our childhood, of crazy times, of beautiful times. The skin stands for coziness, for an embrace, for safety. The skin stands for, of course, sexuality. The skin stands for sensitivity. The skin stands for a lot of things. And that's why, on a personal note here, I never got inked. Even though I'm drawing a lot of tattoo designs, and sometimes I sell those designs, or I just, I give them away to tattoo studios and friends that are, owning a tattoo studio or something like that. Even though I'm doing this type of hobby and practicing this, I never got inked. I never got a tattoo, because a tattoo tells a story. And if you're on the stage and playing Hamlet, or like a classic play, or even something like a bit more recent from Eugene O'Neill or Arthur Miller, and then you are all over the place, you're a tattoo tells a story, and sometimes that story distracts us from what our actual mission is, right? To be storytellers in terms of, in the context of playing in a movie. And if we, knowing that the human eye loves to kind of, travel and navigate over the skin, if our skin is covered with tattoos, you will have two problems, especially if you're a beginner, if you're starting out with your career. Probably sometimes you won't get hired, because the hustle and the extra effort that needs to be put in to cover all of your tattoos, if you're playing something that is historical, right, or is based on a character that really lived, and that character was never inked or didn't have any tattoos whatsoever, so they have to make sure that those tattoos will never be visible, otherwise it throws off the audience when they are observing and watching the movie. So sometimes that extra hustle could be like a deal breaker for you in terms of getting hired or not, or getting considered for a project or not. But second of all, like I said, it's like distracting. You're doing yourself not a big service in terms of being an entertainer, like an actor that needs to be as neutral as possible, right? Because we're just a conduit of the story. And now all of a sudden we have a personal note, a drawing or something even big or clumsy or very colorful, that tells a completely different story, that kind of could potentially throw off the audience. So that is to be considered, right? When you are an actor, make sure to, if you get tattooed, or if you want to ink yourself and whatever, I mean, it's fine, but just take that into consideration, that sometimes potentially that could be a deal breaker. So coming back, like I said, it shouldn't be too crazy what you're wearing. It shouldn't be too fancy, right? And make sure your skin, feels great that day, and that you're luminous and radiant and beautiful, and that you have slept well, of course, a couple of nights before you're going into the headshot session, that you have a healthy diet before you're doing that. Well, I mean, sometimes a headshot session could be a great reason to detoxify for a couple of days or even weeks, because you really want to get pure into the session. When you want to shoot great pictures without looking tired or lazy or stressed out, or just worked out from your daily routines and all that, right? You want to look as somebody as could be hired right away and could be placed on the billboard and then attract millions of fans out there in the whole wide world. So you need to look like a finished product. You need to look solid and legit and qualified and professional. And I think that's, like I said, it's common sense, right? These initial technicalities that I'm trying to cover here, I think we all agree upon that, right? That in a certain way, of course, when I look at a picture, there's, the picture needs to be in a way before we start talking about the art and the expression, all that, we need to kind of, cover our fundaments and our strategic basis, to make sure that now we can express ourselves, right? In a magnificent way. So, sometimes I get asked, is it really necessary to have like a makeup artist when you're doing your headshot session? I would say definitely yes. Even though, let's say you're a girl and you're a great actress and you know exactly how to kind of, apply makeup, it takes away time. Even though you're great at it, and I think you want to, you have the legitimate desire to save some money, because maybe you're investing a lot into, into the photographer himself, right? Maybe he's like a very famous photographer in town, like a big shot, and so he costs a lot of money, he's expensive. But do you want to drive the Ferrari, or do you want to just look at the Ferrari? Because if you want to drive the Ferrari, you need to kind of fuel up the tank, right? And fueling up the tank and putting some gas into it is really necessary. So yeah, the car costs a lot, but if you don't do that little step, that, you know very necessary, additional step, and fueling up that car, won't drive you anywhere. And so I think the makeup artist on set is like, fueling up your tank. Filling up your tank means that you don't have to take care about that there is a pro who knows exactly how the light impacts your skin, that maybe knows the photographer already, that knows what kind of lighting he's using, and all the things that are maybe right now kind of relevant when it comes down to what, the trends are on the market, all that. You got a makeup artist. There are some, even on a low budget, you can find some great people out there that will, love to help you to kind of look perfect on that day. And so that takes away hustle, stress, and time from your schedule, and you can focus totally on the picture taking process. Like I said, it would be just a waste. Even, if you just shooting this even on a low budget and saying, no, I'm not even investing a lot into the photographer, he's a friend of mine, he's doing me a favor. Even more so, you should hire a makeup artist then, because you got some money saved, and then you can invest it in looking just perfectly and flawlessly. And when we're talking about makeup, since we got this little topic here, we're talking about, having and using the same common sense that we also, should kind of use when we're talking about clothing and fashion, what we should wear during our headshot session. Of course, the makeup shouldn't be too crazy, too fancy, or too colorful, unless it's for something, specific, right? And we're going to talk about that in a second as well. Unless it's that, the makeup, again, like the clothing, like what you're wearing, like the style that you're putting on, should be just underlining, emphasizing, and, kind of supporting your product, right? And not cloaking it, or not caging it, and not making it too much about, the fanciness, but about the expression. So use the same common sense here as well. Of course, if you don't have any money for an additional makeup artist, and you don't know anybody like in film school or drama school that has a bit of experience with that, or any other acting colleague that maybe has already, like, with theater makeup, some experience, and maybe he could help you out, of course, before you do any crazy experiments and you try to put some makeup on that you're not sure if it really works, if you're, doing everything properly. I mean, there are great YouTube videos, there are great resources online. You can't really do anything major wrong, but still make sure that you look fine, that you look natural, that you look neutral when we're talking about makeup. If you're applying it yourself, maybe you can have like a little chat with your photographer beforehand, before you're running into the session, before you're actually starting the session. And discussing clothing and discussing makeup would be very essential, so you know exactly what you need to wear and what kind of makeup you need to apply in order to kind of have that, stable framework, for yourself. So When is it a good time to take headshots, you might ask? And here's a question back to you guys. Why are you taking headshots anyways? Because you want your headshots to be somewhere, right? Let's say at an agency where people who are from the industry could, take a look at them, right? That's why you want pictures there. So the context should always be like, how actual and how fresh are my pictures actually? Because if somebody's going to is going to look up your pictures at your agency, or it's going to find something online, like, how does this correspond to your actual look, to how you look right now in this very moment? So the context always should be twice a year at least. I should try to make new headshots. So I always stay, kind of actualized. So I'm always up to date with my personal look. When people get my headshots and they call me because they consider me for a project and I show up, I need to look exactly like I look on those pictures. I mean, of course, we look great on those pictures, and the relevant people, the casting director, they know, okay, maybe there is some grading going on, some little Photoshop work here, some tweaks here and there, and the makeup is applied, and you can't look like that when you're going to a regular casting, during the week. If it's just a regular casting or just a regular self-tape, you can't really do the major work all the times. That will be just too much and exhausting, right? Throughout the year. But you want to look as actual as possible, corresponding to those pictures. So make yourself a plan throughout the year. What does the year consists of 4 seasons, right? So there are 4 different color palettes that are relevant throughout the year. And if you shoot headshots, if you're about to take some pictures, just look around and realize, what season are we in right now? Is this springtime? So if it's springtime, of course, the context of my pictures should be kind of related to what I'm right now and to what surrounds me right now. Because by next year, spring, I'm going to take some new pictures anyways. So this springtime photo edition, let's say, and I call it this way, should represent what the context is right now. And then in summertime, there's a new context. So I need other pictures. It wouldn't make any sense if I put some heavy clothes on and scarves on and heavy coats on, or something a bit more rugged and thicker, in the summer, where I feel like I need to kind of breathe and it's hot and I want to show, and my skin looks flawless and beautiful, So there's a context to represent, and there's a context to respect throughout the year. And this is where most of the people start kind of, the thing is, when we're talking about headshots, most people think I need to, get some headshots done. I need my headshots for my agency or for my portfolio. I want to upload some better pictures on my Instagram account, what it is. So I need some headshots. And they call a photographer, they contact somebody, and, you just, they set up a date, a time, and by that time they're gonna open up their drawer, they're gonna take some clothes out and some makeup, and then they're gonna drive to the photographers and to the studio, right? And they're gonna take some pictures, and usually that's the setup. But what I'm proposing here is to really find a contextual meaning for your pictures. So besides all the technicalities that I kind of explained so far, there is something way bigger than having the right outfit or the right makeup put on. But before I get into that, let's see if there are some other comments in the chat box. So Sophie and Cool, hey Lorenzo, hey, what's up? Rosita Macarons, can we trust the directions of the photographer in terms of acting? We will get into that. Yes, we can. We should. I mean, otherwise it's gonna be horrifying. But then, of course, we should evaluate it from time to time. So we've covered clothing, right? Even though, of course, the more neutral the clothes are that you're choosing for your headshot, the more you will come across, right? But sometimes I feel like we are playing it a bit too safe. Always the same clothing is also always the same look. And casting directors, they look at millions of pictures. And if they always see the same neutral, bland type of clothing going on, they get tired too, just by looking at them, right? And so this tiredness kind of translates also to the picture, even though the picture might be great. But if everybody's putting the same stuff on all the time throughout the year, then it's kind of redundant. And you don't only want to feel comfortable with the clothes that you put on and the style that you're wearing, but they should represent you also in a way. They can be slightly more personal. So I feel like, yes, even like 10 years ago, 7 years ago, it was very, very important to be as neutral as possible in terms of clothing and all that. I feel like that there is like a little shift happening in the last couple of years, and people are, starting to put some more, like, I don't know, like a bit more flamboyant stuff on, let's say it that way, like a bit more elegant stuff, or a bit more, you know clothings on that are a bit more targeting a certain type of expression, a certain type of style, a certain type of niche. Because the clothes that you put on, they could also define the type of movie people will kind of see when they're looking at your headshot. They will look at your headshot and they will see a movie. The relevant people, the masters of the universe, the casting director, he will see your headshot, he will take a look at it and say, oh, I can imagine her being in a comedy. And the clothing that you put on could emphasize that a little bit more, right? Or subtract from that impression and could work against it if you don't choose wisely. So it's not just about being neutral and being solid and trying to be as I would say, it's not conformity. I'm not trying to use that type of expression, but it's some like a standard that everybody has agreed upon. There is a standard type of picture that everybody has agreed upon in terms of clothing, in terms of makeup, in terms of the cropping of the camera, where everybody kind of agrees upon, right, this is the standard, this looks good, this is solid. And now it's about inserting something on top, and placing some little details into this picture, where you kind of come across as a little bit more than just a solid standard uh, agreed upon type of picture, that there is something more happening between those two eyes, and that the transmission is stronger than the very solid and agreeable and normal type of picture. Headshots are really a still moment of your moment that is happening right now. And that's why we're coming to the, I think, most important tip here. This is the bonus tip. What I've experienced throughout my 30 plus years of acting experience, and going into numerous headshot sessions and messing up a lot of them, screwing up a lot of them, because nobody told me that I needed a game plan. We do need a game plan, even if we go to a headshot session. And what does this game plan look like? You see, photography is just, it's film, but just still, right? It's just single frames of a bigger film. And so when we are filming, we are expressing something. We have we have a narrative, we have a mission, we have a quest as actors in the scene. Why shouldn't we have the same approach when it comes down to taking pictures? So what I'm proposing here, what I felt like has given me the most strength and the most, the biggest self-esteem, and also a bit more of a relaxed demeanor and approach when it comes down to, entering the headshot session, is to know exactly what I want to tell, what type of story I like to portray here. It's not just about looking great and being solid and being agreeable and being, good looking and have good skin and all that. They're all, important technicalities and very important aspects. But again, It's the story behind your eyes. It's what's underneath the clothing and the makeup, the core that tells a very compelling and passionate message that needs to kind of impact the audience. It's not our accessories and our props, that we shouldn't use anyways, besides some glasses maybe, or a gun or something. But make sure also to kind of reduce that aspect. Not too many or confusing props or anything, right? It needs to look decent, it needs to look you, but it needs to, it can only look you if you got a story, if you got something to tell. And to me personally, that was my biggest mistake for over 20 years of my life of being an actor. I went to a session. I'm being honest with you guys. I don't like, myself getting taking pictures and all that, because it just, I don't find myself too attractive. So, I always judge myself, and I'm exactly as everybody out there, like engineered to kind of look for the most beautiful person, and to admire beauty and all the flawlessness of these great megastars, as well as you guys, creative community out there. Let me know what you think of this. Of course, I'm triggered by those great pictures and those beautiful people, and I know I don't look like that. So for many years, going into headshot sessions was kind of terrible for me, because I felt like, no, I mean, what type of use is this gonna be anyway? I look terrible. I don't look good enough, for being on a cover of a magazine. So there is no need for me to get great headshots. But that's of course completely lunatic, right? People need to see who you are. It's not about great looking pictures. It's not about you being a model or having a six pack or having, great long hair and beautiful breasts and all that. We're not models here. We're actors who need to take headshots to be considered by a producer or a casting director, to get invited to an audition and maybe getting considered for a project. And actors, they don't necessarily need to look astonishing, overwhelming, and super beautiful all the time. They need to look interesting. They need to look compelling. We actors, we need to look interesting, right? We need to kind of deploy something, to kind of insert an idea, to stimulate our audience, and not necessarily through beauty. And it took me a long while to understand that, and to be more and more comfortable about the picture taking process, because standing in front of the camera for me, means movement. I can always, go somewhere. I don't have to show my face all the time, right? I can be also slightly tired, or just worked out, whatever. And when I act, I'm the character, so I'm not judging myself, I'm not looking at myself, I'm not picking myself, I'm not picking on myself, and kind of spotting the details that don't look too good about me, or my chocolate side, or whatever. All these aspects, I don't consider them when I'm acting, because I'm the character. I'm immersed in that. And after the gig, I just go home, and then I'm just a private person. I can look however I want to look. When it comes down to pictures, I was always afraid about that stillness, about that moment that captures really the essence in that very second, and we should treat it as such. So this bonus tip is about realizing that taking pictures is like shooting a movie. If you don't have a strong narrative working for you, your performance will be boring. So the transmission of your eyes, it will just not be as compelling when, compared to when you have like a game plan set up for you. So first of all, what is this game plan? Now look at your pictures. What type of pictures do you have already? What type of headshots do you have already? When you got a lot of headshots, let's say where you're very thoughtful, melancholic, right? Then you probably, need some pictures where you look a bit more joyful and happy and more outgoing, and maybe you should smile more. Or maybe let's say you have a lot of pictures where you look very severe and serious and almost aggressive, then maybe you should take some pictures and kind of compensate your portfolio with some pictures where it's about, tenderness, sensitivity, and and being slightly softer, and having some expressions that are less aggressive and less confrontational and a bit more open, right? You should kind of balance out the type of faces that you show to people without showing everything, of course. Like Marlon Brando once said to Johnny Depp while shooting Don Juan, don't show people all of your faces. Always keep something secret for yourself. Don't sell yourself out, right? You have enough faces already, and you can play your career with them, right? Don't show all of your faces unless you want to become boring, right? Because then everybody knows you, everybody knows all of your faces. So keep certain faces for yourself. And what type of faces do you want to get recognized and identified with? What type of face um, are you actually aiming at? So before you go to a headshot session, you should ask yourself this: am I a very expressionate type of face? Am I more a sublime type of face? I'm a very, you know, almost unnoticeable when I'm changing my expression? Is my mimical play, is it very subtle and very reduced and kind of compressed? Or am I an extrovert? Am I very, outgoing with my emotions? And do I show a lot of faces? And do I have a very vivid mimic display, right? What type of actor am I? Is there any actor I can compare myself to? And what type of headshots can I find about this actor I can kind of relate to? Am I more a Sam Rockwell type of crazy actor with crazy hair and crazy expression and more strong and accentuated facial expression? Or am I more an actor that is more reduced and relaxed and more subtle and more mysterious, like Jeremy Irons, or I don't know, like Johnny Depp, let's say, right? Where do I see myself when it comes down to my mimical expressions? What have I covered so far? Are there any pictures of me available from this respective field? Yes or no? If no, I need to shoot those. If yes, I don't need to shoot those again. Or if I want to update them, maybe just a few, and then maybe try to experiment, try to find something out for myself. Because like I said, the bonus tip here is that you should create a covert narrative. And like a scene, your expressions when it comes down to shooting those pictures, they should have a transformation going on. You start with a feeling, you start with your narrative. Let's say you start, you're having your headshot session on a porch, on a front porch of a beautiful Victorian type of house. It's hot, it's summertime, and you just there with just a few clothes on, and it's of course it's a very intimate and very condensed type of moment that you're having there. But what do you want to express? I mean, you are sitting on a porch, right? What kind of emotions do you want to display in that position? And look out for something, search for something, have your own narrative build up before you enter the session, so you are ready to express, you're ready to go right from the start. You know what kind of face you want to start with, and you're warmed up already. You can warm up as well, like in terms of like an actor would do it, like you would do it when you're going on the stage, right? When you have to play a theater play, warm yourself up, warm up your muscles, warm up your instrument, warm up your facial expressions, warm up your eyes, like technically speaking. But inside of you, there must be a story going on. If you just sit there and you just wait for somebody who gives you a direction, coming to Rosita's question, then again you're in this, I have to fulfill the directive, right? I have to come up with, following up on the direction, right? I have to fulfill my purpose here. And so again, we are in this mood, in this system of waiting for input and then trying to replicate that input in order to get, two thumbs up. And that is again, it's not healthy, because we're just waiting for validation. We should offer something, we should give something, we should be ready from the start with a strong inner story, and give that story out right from the start, and see what the director tells us, where he wants us to go, what he loves more and what he loves less, and where he needs us to go a bit, where he needs us to double down, or where he needs us to kind of reduce that. Because if we offer a lot, then there is a lot, expect too many directions from your photographer, because a photographer, like a director, because again, this is a still movie, and like a director, the photographer has a lot of stuff on his plate. He's a lot of stuff going on in his head. He has to think about the lighting, about the aperture, about many technical details, about the background, if everything is okay. Maybe there's, maybe the picture is too messy, maybe how the lighting is falling is not perfect, so he needs to look. So he has to deal with a lot of questions, a lot of technicalities. Don't expect from your photographer that he will give you super accurate and very helpful informations all the time throughout the whole session, because maybe he's going to be distracted with some important things because he needs to take pictures. So the better we are prepared in terms of what we want to tell, the less effort it is for the photographer, the more time you will save, and the stronger the pictures will be. Play those transformations, play different scenes, right? Write down for yourself, like, I want to show 5 emotions. Looking through my portfolio, I've realized what emotions are missing, and I want to show them. But I don't just want to show emotions. I want to show them in a context, right? Where does this emotion come from? So I have to create a story, a background story that makes sense, where I can weave in this emotion. And now I play the scene and just focus in on the emotion. And now I can play the scene, the transition, the transformation, and various little moments of that scene, which again is a great, exercising playground for my shooting, for my acting endeavor. Because if I can hold an emotion based on a story, and I can kind of focus on that very specific and authentic moment, to then kind of replicate this while I'm shooting, gives me the ability to kind of really, carve out exactly the emotion that I want to display in front of the camera. So taking headshots is always a great opportunity to practice our craft, basically. And at the same time, getting, great headshots means I have a better business card. I'm a bit ahead of my game here. And there is also the other aspect that, being human beings, sometimes, we come on set with the best of our intentions. And I'm sure the photographer and everybody else involved in the session does this as well. But things sometimes, get complicated. There are discrepancies. Things are really sometimes difficult to understand, or, there are some other problems, distractions, exterior factors that kind of, impact in a negative way the shooting process, right? And the better you're prepared, the more you can offer, the more secure you are about what you want to show, the less important it is what happens around you, the less affected you are by some negative environmental, evolutions, right? Let's say something kind of doesn't really work and people get frustrated or nervous. You're not, because you're in there to show your story, and you don't get your impulses necessarily and all of your directions necessarily just from the photographer. Because also in this way, you kind of avoid being too dependable and not always having that type of, kind of state where you wait for input and then you kind of replicate, which of course costs a lot of energy. To produce this in the moment is it's like shooting, it's like acting, it costs energy. So what I'm trying to propose here is that you take a headshot session like an audition, that you have a role, a character mapped out, that you have a strategy, that you know exactly what you want to achieve, that you know what kind of emotions you want to display. And now, all of a sudden, the technicalities that I've explained previously, now all of a sudden they serve a purpose. Now all of a sudden you're looking for some specific things inside of your drawer, and you're not just, randomly just grabbing something that looks great. No, you're looking for exactly the clothings and exactly the clothes that will help you to kind of illustrate what you've prepared, help you to underline the story, help you to support your narrative. You need that covert narrative when you're taking pictures, because that will be visible, and that reduces the amount of time you need otherwise to warm up your engine, right? And to be then fully ready. Because usually what it looks like when you're getting into a headshot session is, okay, first couple of outfits, they're just there to warm up. Usually in the beginning, yeah, there's like some nice pictures here and there, but usually the initial scape, the initial two outfits, they aren't just that great. The middle part where you warmed up and you feel like, oh, now you're confident, now you kind of vibed and you kind of bonded with the photographer, and now you feel like, okay, this is functioning. You know, the middle part of your session usually has the greatest amount of great pictures in it. And then by the end, there will be some good ones as well, but you know, you start getting tired probably, and then you've used all of your outfits, and maybe you're just a bit run down. And then of course time kind of, it takes away a lot of focus as well. And so by the end, you rarely will find like great and impactful pictures. Usually it's the great pictures are in the middle. But by using this method, this type of technique, you can make sure that right from the start, you will take some great pictures. That right from the start, you have your strongest emotions ready, your strongest faces ready. Study yourself in the mirror and look at yourself, how your body looks, how your skin looks. Work out a little bit. Make sure to have like a healthy diet, to eat enough good, good produce, good ingredients, good food. Make sure to kind of insert healthy stuff into your system. Drink enough water. Work out, but not too much. Don't be too stiff. Do some yoga, right? Be transparent, be translucent, be, full of good oxygen and good spirits. Take a deep breath and focus on each and every picture. But most importantly, have a strategy going on, have a game plan going on, have a nice narrative going on. What is the context of the season? What is the context of my agent? What is the context of the future movies I want to be involved in? Am I more an action type of actor? Am I more a comedian? Am I more like the classical hero? Am I more a lover? Am I more a fighter? So based on that, I need to take a certain set of pictures. And these pictures, they will be animated by my story, by my message. Don't wait for anyone else inserting an exterior message into your container. Come up with something on your own and let that develop from the inside out. Martina Lehmann writes, I often experience that other people see other sides in me than I see in myself, for sure. So with which intentions I should go into photo shooting then? Should I offer some specific roles? Yes. Offer something very specific. Actually make it as narrow as possible. Do I want to offer a psychopath killer today that has a childhood trauma based on a very bad experience? Or am I a refugee coming from a different land and trying, to search for safety in this place here? Am I a good girl? Am I a bad girl? I want to offer something. I want to offer something specific. I want to show a very intimate, private collection of great moments, kind of chain linked to each other. And I want to make sure that my outfits underline this concept, and then my makeup kind of, radiates that out with me, and that everything is aligned with that. I have a game plan based on these three fundamental concepts. What is my style? What is the context here of the season, of the movie, of the portfolio that I need to cover? That's my style. Okay, so what type of pictures have I so far done in my life? Is there something missing? I'm going to look for that. And if that's something that I definitely am aspiring to kind of play, to kind of interpret, which kind of fascinates me, something that I haven't done so far, make sure to include that into your picture taking process. Then contact the photographer that suits exactly that mission. Talk with him briefly about what you've planned. Don't just show up and say, hey, by the way, I got a game plan, because maybe he's got another game plan. Maybe he wants something else, and then kind of try to find the consensus there, and then show up and be strong right from the very start. Because of course, we perceive us completely different, but we know us also deeper and more profound than anyone else does, even though we don't want to admit it sometimes. And that means, of course, that nobody else can tell us what our most powerful moments are and what our greatest phase actually is. It's a game of getting to a critical mass of expression, like it would be a casting, like it would be a final callback, like where you're so sharp that every shot that you do, every picture that the photographer will take is just boom, exactly and sharply expressing what you are right now. And 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 the third part of this is that your narrative is strong and that you're not afraid of playing those transitions and not being always with the same face, but kind of adjusting and playing that transition as if you would listen to an inner dialogue with somebody else, as if you would try to express something that is truly important to you, right? Like we're always doing when we're playing a monologue. Rosita asks, never thought about this. Thanks for this tip. Of course, you're welcome. What do you think about edit with Photoshop? Um, it should be, concerning your question, it should be recognizable, right? Common sense. It shouldn't be too much. But of course, if there's like a little imperfection here and there, there's something that you want to kind of reduce a little bit, and make sure to cover that, to make kind of smooth that out a little bit, but not too much. People want to recognize you, and you should be the one who's on that headshot. And once you get into the room, they should say, wow, yeah, exactly, right? And not, hey, who's this? Right? um I feel when you do this, like personally, it helped me tremendously to improve the output, to improve the number, to improve the overall quality of the pictures, but most importantly, to increase the number of great pictures. And now I have way more better pictures than I used to have, because I'm supported by myself. I know exactly what I want to offer, and I can adjust a little bit according to the directions of the photographer, according to the mood that I'm in that very moment, and to what the environment is giving me and what I'm perceiving. Because maybe I didn't know how the studio looks like, and then I'm totally overwhelmed by the beauty of the studio, by a certain prop that is standing there that's kind of cool that you want to include, right? Make sure to have 75% covered, and then deal with 25% of the upcoming surprises and include them, because if you surprise yourself, you surprise others, right? um Taking pictures is not that somebody's taking something from you. It is you showing that you are searching for something. You take something because you want to analyze it closer, not because you want to give it away. So stand there, be symmetrical, have solid clothes on, inhale, and then breathe out, but very slowly and very condensed and in a very focused way. And think about your narrative. Think about the stability of your posture, on how you're standing right now in this moment, and then feel free to express that, right? That momentum, that self-awareness, the greatness of being alive, and believing in this inner story, in that canon that you kind of mapped out for yourself. And then go to the next posture, and then to the next phase, and then to the next outfit, and work your way through like that, focused. Don't look too much at the pictures, don't get distracted. Stay focused, drink enough, don't talk too much, right? Be loose, put some music on if you need it, but don't get, in a way, too much involved with the outer world. Perceive what's necessary, discard the useless, and focus on your game plan. It needs to be simple, it needs to be strong. You need to focus on these little strategic points, on those stepping stones, but don't force it. If it's really not happening, or if the photographer is not happy, then make it as smooth, as plain, as simple as possible. Kind of check that, and just go to the next one without regretting what you just did, right? And then kind of reboot yourself. take your breaks if you need. Nobody is upset because you need to take a water break or you need to go to your bathroom, whatever, right? Feel comfortable in your clothes and in your skin, and and be a great storyteller, even for the headshots. Like what happened to me with the great Ron Jacobrian in Los Angeles just recently, and Dan Bauman with the makeup, was exactly that. Like I felt for the first time I was really in the zone. I was really there because I had a little game plan for me mapped out on a couple of notes, and I knew what I wanted to portray, and accordingly to that I chose my clothings and the clothes and the style and the type of emotions I wanted to show were those that I haven't so far in any picture. And I was blessed because Ron is just an amazing photographer. He's just a pro. He's worked with mega stars, with global stars, and also with little actors in small cities. And when you have such an array and such a range of professionality, of sensitivity, and of giving everybody the right freedom to kind of express what he wants to express, then you feel like, all right, I'm working with somebody who's really a pro, who's really in love with his work and really in love with the product that he's shooting. And that made the whole, that made the whole difference. And sure enough, I can disclose this. There will be a video coming up where we'll have talks on acting with Ron. Um, Randy Hakopian out of LA. We're gonna, kind of dive into the beautiful profession of photography and what actors, newbies and seasoned actors, need to know when it's about, taking the headshots. And he will disclose some of his secrets, and I will include his links as well. And I can't wait to have this talk with him because I feel like this is something that um, we don't cover quite enough, the emotional and positive and important aspect of taking pictures. It's not just about, oh yeah, okay, I got my headshot. It's about what type of story do I want to portray here? How do I want to impact my audience? And I'm sure this talk is gonna give you some great infos as well. I hope this little technique today helped you to kind of understand how you can tackle the, sometimes for a lot of people, I feel they have trouble with approaching the headshot session. Even though there might be some great performers and great actors, but when it comes down to just be there and rely on the stillness and rely on the transmission, they feel sometimes caged or not assured enough of their tools, of what they're capable of. And this maybe is going to help them. It did tremendously over the years, helped me for sure kind of to find my place in front of the camera and being stronger, more satisfied with the outcome, and being also more proud on showing these pictures around. I surely am about the latest headshot session. You can check out the pictures on Instagram, and I will upload a couple of those in the future as well from that beautiful day. So make sure to check me out on Instagram as well. It's the Coach MC. If you got any other questions regarding great pictures, headshots, casting directors, and all that, let me know in the comment section down below, or write me a nice email through my website. It's thecoachmc.studio. Even though, it could be also about a nice project, a good, a show reel, like an audition that you want to record, something that you want to include in your portfolio, talking about like a certain text that you want to tackle. If you need some professional help with that, I'm your man. Just let me know, or just, let's jump into a free trial session. Let's find out in 30 minutes if we're a great match for each other, and then we can work together. I'm happy to assist you with whatever adventure you have in mind. I can't wait to dive into your projects and learn more about yourself and what you guys are doing. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat room today. Thank you so much, creative community, for having joined the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell so you get notified every time we grind out a new video. Shoot this video out there to your creative community. Share this content. Let's get further, 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 and further all together, faster in any ways, but also better in this process, because as a community we can really contribute to make this culture an outstanding culture, because we're all part of this wonderful entertainment industry. So let's make this day a worthy day, and never forget, Life is in session. It's all about playing and believing in this moment and having a strong narrative, working for yourself and not against yourself. Don't wait for the directions. Put the message out there. And now you're ready to perform. See you next time.